The day will come when we will name names other than Sean Combs, and there's a lot of names. It's a long list already. And of course, I already know who some of these individuals are, but because of the nature of this case, we're going to make damn sure that we're right before we do that. But the names that we're going to name, assuming that our investigators confirm and corroborate what we've been told, are names that will shock you.
People thought Diddy's parties were just fun, but witnesses say they were crime scenes, tapes, blackmail, and silence. From Kim Porter to Cassie and even Aaliyah, the pattern is chilling. They're digging bodies back up. But why? That was the question millions asked when Kim Porter's death suddenly came back into the spotlight.
So the first person who's mentioned in this filing who was in the documentary is Albie Shore. And Wolf claims he conclusively asserts that Miss Porter was murdered. And in the documentary, you hear Albie Shore saying, "Do I have to say allegedly?" when he's talking about Kim Porter's death and the allegations that Diddy's somehow responsible. Albie Shore goes on to claim, which Diddy's team says falsely claim, that before her death, Miss Porter was keeping a diary and was planning to reveal all, but that someone, implying Diddy, found out that she was writing what was going on behind closed doors, basically alluding that that was the reason that she died.
Then there's Jaguar Wright and her, quote, conspiracy theories. Wolf states, the documentary includes a clip from a YouTube interview with Jaguar Wright, a conspiracy theorist who skeptically points out that of the 5 people who, she says, started Uptown Records, the only 2 people left are Puffy and Al B. Sure, and Al almost died.
Kim Porter, model, actress, and longtime partner of Sean Diddy Combs, was found dead in her Los Angeles home on November 15, 2018. Official cause? Pneumonia. But here's the problem. No investigation, no toxicology tests, and, this part is wild, her electronics, including her phone and laptop, disappeared before police even got there. Who takes those unless there's something to hide?
Found dead in her home on November 15, 2018, her death was officially attributed to pneumonia. However, the timing, coupled with the presence of key figures like Corey Gamble, has fueled countless theories. Some believe there is more to the story, with various rumours suggesting foul play or undisclosed underlying causes. Diddy's reported constant surveillance of Kim's home and the quick arrival of Corey at the scene have only deepened the intrigue.
Former bad boy bodyguard Gene Deal swore the case was brushed aside. No one in law enforcement pushed deeper, which raises the question, who benefited from Kim staying silent forever? Rumors started spreading fast. People close to Kim whispered about hidden tapes, recordings of wild, freak-off parties Diddy hosted, where celebrities were allegedly caught on camera in compromising situations. Why record them? Leverage, control, insurance. And suddenly, Kim's pneumonia didn't sound so natural anymore.
P. Diddy's ex, Kim Porter, mysteriously died in 2018 from natural causes at 47. Kim Porter is the mother of their 2 twins, and she was in a relationship with P. Diddy for roughly 13 years. P. Diddy wanted custody of their kids, and she was planning on releasing a tell-all book if he tried. In the book, Kim approached the man who discovered P. Diddy, Andre Harrell, to ask if he had an intimate relationship with Diddy. She was disappointed when Andre denied it because she had security footage of them together. Kim had footage of Diddy with multiple other men, including Usher. P. Diddy would make Kim use a strap-on to please him. Kim's family allegedly was going to file a wrongful death lawsuit because there was blood located on her pillowcase as well as a trail of blood in the bathroom. Kim's first autopsy suspected foul play from the amount of toxins found in her body. Kim's last phone call was allegedly to 911 at 2:43 a.m. before she was found dead the next day at 11 a.m. Things definitely don't add up because
Friends said Kim was tired of the violence. Remember the so-called pillow fight story? Not playful, it was abuse. She tried to walk away, even broke up publicly, but every time she pulled back, Diddy tightened his grip. Business contracts tied them together, and her freedom was treated like property. Meanwhile, Diddy crafted his brother love image for the cameras, but insiders say Kim was trapped in a private nightmare. Hours before her death, she got a massage, hardly the behavior of a woman dying from pneumonia. Then suddenly, Her body was removed before investigators even arrived. That's not protocol, that's cover-up. For many in Hollywood, Kim's death became the first big red flag, because if she couldn't escape alive, who else was marked next? Cassie Ventura. For years, she was the quiet shadow in Diddy's empire. But what people didn't realize, she was also a witness. Cassie saw Kim Porter's abuse firsthand. She lived the same nightmare. Those glossy yacht parties, they weren't just fun. They were training grounds. Women invited, cameras rolling, everyone told to relax. Behind the champagne smiles, it was about control. Cassie once told friends she couldn't take it anymore. But like many, she was locked in the NDA trap, legal documents designed to silence victims before they even speak. Her lawsuit years later only scratched the surface, and here's the haunting part. Same yacht, same violence, same cycle. Go back to the white party photos from 2001. You'll see Kim smiling and standing just feet away. Aaliyah. 1 week later, Aaliyah's plane crashes in the Bahamas. But here's the twist. Eyewitnesses said Aaliyah didn't even want to board that plane. She was exhausted. She was scared. The aircraft was overloaded with over 700 pounds of excess baggage. The official story called it an accident, but insiders whispered elimination disguised as tragedy. And then the darkest rumor, Aaliyah, too, had been infected, silenced before she could speak. Gene Deal put it bluntly, these aren't coincidences. A pattern starts to form.
August 25, 2001, Bahamas. Aaliyah's life was cut short in a tragic plane crash, but disturbing connections to P. Diddy and R. Kelly raise questions. Let's get into it. R. Kelly was Aaliyah's mentor and would later on become her husband, despite her young age of just 15. Their illegal marriage was later annulled due to Aaliyah's age. And then there's P. Diddy. Diddy's role in Aaliyah's death has also sparked more speculations. The plane crash that killed Aaliyah was operated by a company with ties to P. Diddy. The pilot was unlicensed and unfit to fly a plane. Theories abound. Why was Aaliyah forced on that plane? Was she silenced due to her connections to R. Kelly's controversies, or her attempt to expose P. Diddy's shady business? And why were R. Kelly, P. Diddy, and Jay-Z the only ones who profited from her death? Stay tuned as we uncover the shady truth about the suspicious death of Aaliyah.
One woman leaves, another takes her place. Victims recycled in a system run by powerful men who saw women not as partners, but as leverage. Freak-off parties weren't just about sex. They were rituals of dominance, a way to remind everyone who really held power. And here's the chilling part. This wasn't new. Singer Jaguar Wright connected it back to the 1800s, when the term actress was just code for prostitute. History repeats itself, only glossier. Even modern stars like Young Miami openly brag about humiliation, as if exploitation is empowerment. It's the same system rebranded for social media. And the scariest part? This cycle hasn't ended. It's still running right now. Jaguar Wright didn't just whisper, she shouted. She said she saw the cameras herself. Tapes being made, stored, and used as weapons. Recording wasn't accidental, it was deliberate. Music studios, the very places where legends like Biggie and Mary J. Blige recorded history, doubled as blackmail factories. Take Paris Hilton. Her infamous tape in 2003 wasn't leaked. Insiders claimed it was distributed, circulated strategically to normalize the idea that women in entertainment had no privacy. Then there's Mary J. Blige. Rumors swirl of humiliating footage captured without her consent, proof that even the most respected names weren't safe. The freak-off parties? They were filmed constantly, every room, every angle, every compromise on tape. These weren't memories, they were files, evidence stored, traded, and monetized. Girls who once danced in music videos later disappeared from the industry, scarred, silenced, erased. Victims were conditioned to believe this was normal. That's psychological warfare, Hollywood then versus now. Not much has changed, only the branding. Back then, silence was survival. Now silence is still survival. And it wasn't just women. Tyson Beckford's name surfaces in whispers. Was he tricked into compromising situations? Straight men lured, filmed, and trapped the same way. The exploitation wasn't gender exclusive. People who attended Diddy's parties often said the same thing. Something felt off. Some guests left mid-party to protect themselves. Others stayed, hungry for fame, unaware they were walking into traps. Ambition became the bait. Exploitation got disguised as opportunity. Powerful men hid behind nicknames like Brother Love to mask what was happening. Jaguar Wright swears, "This isn't random, it's systemic, a worldwide network. If she's right, then Hollywood isn't a dream factory at all. It's a crime scene." But here's the question that still haunts everyone. Where's the proof? When federal agents raided Diddy's properties, they didn't just take files. They uncovered 1,000 bottles of baby oil, enough to fill an entire warehouse shelf. Investigators also reported stockpiles of controlled substances. And here's the kicker. Court documents don't call these parties. They describe them as produced events with staging, direction, and scripts. Victims weren't attending freely. Many were drugged, transported across state lines, even internationally. Gene Deal had warned for years that these freak-offs weren't rumors. They were organized productions, and the federal case now backs him up with receipts. Tapes weren't just random home videos. They were directed, arranged, and shockingly, Diddy allegedly filmed himself, building an archive where even he became the star. That explains the ritual. The baby oil wasn't a detail, it was a signature.
6,000 bottles of baby oil found at P. Diddy's mansion. But why? During a shocking investigation, federal agents uncovered something strange at the home of one of hip-hop's biggest icons. But what was he doing with 6,000 bottles of this stuff? What seemed like a weird detail is turning into the key to something much darker. The staff was desperate to stop agents from going deeper. But why? What are they hiding? The FBI thinks this could just be the tip of the iceberg. What else are they about to uncover? Drop an FBI in the comments for part 2 and let us know.
A brand. Witness testimony lined up perfectly with the evidence. And then came the darkest revelation. Investigators traced a $500 million black market trade tied to these tapes. A-list names like Nicki Minaj, Rihanna, even Drake appear in whispers. Industry icons, forever compromised. Why don't these tapes ever leak? Because they don't exist on YouTube or TMZ. They circulate through dark coin trade sold on encrypted marketplaces. It's an economy of exploitation. Celebrities are reduced to products, bartered and bought. Blackmail for power, profit for silence. Even more chilling, reports suggest Diddy himself sold tapes. Why? To raise fast cash? To protect allies? Maybe even to ensure mutual destruction if he falls. Every file is a loaded weapon. One leak and multiple lives implode. But digital evidence never stays buried. Remember R. Kelly? His VHS tapes leaked despite heavy threats. And in today's digital age, leaks are inevitable. The question is no longer if the tapes surface. It's who survives when they do. Kim Porter's death was supposed to bury secrets. Yet years later, those whispers are louder than ever. Cassie lived long enough to testify, and her lawsuit cracked the first wall. Aaliyah, many say, was silenced permanently in 2001 after refusing to play along. Jaguar Wright now connects all the dots, insisting this isn't coincidence. It's a system. The industry, built on systematic abuse, sells exploitation as opportunity. Fame looks like a prize, but behind the curtain, it's a trap. And now, with the federal case unfolding, exposure feels inevitable. Victims' testimonies are piling up, evidence keeps surfacing, and the infection network that thrived in secrecy is collapsing. Witnesses are bolder. Darknet trades of tapes worth $500 million are now a liability, not protection. Public outrage grows with every headline, and exploitation can't survive under sunlight. But justice for Kim Porter? Still pending. Families keep demanding the reopening of her case. Autopsy requests resurface. Fans even re-examine old photos, pointing at clues the coroner never addressed. Aaliyah's death gets reinterpreted. Was it an accident? Or was it elimination disguised as tragedy? Cassie's courage inspires others, and suddenly, industry insiders are breaking silence. The once impenetrable network of silence is fracturing, one lawsuit at a time. And here's where it turns darker. Evidence hints this wasn't just abuse. Victims reveal health consequences, fueling claims that exploitation doubled as biological warfare, spreading infections deliberately to destroy futures. But if that's true, one question overshadows everything. Who's still protecting Diddy? Federal raids show evidence, victims testify, rumors explode, but somehow he walks free. The final cliffhanger is chilling. When all those tapes finally surface, and history says leaks are inevitable, who will survive the fallout?